stop till I get that paper. And it's still middle fingers to a hater. And it's still for them bitches. I came from rare to riches. Them niggas, they was switching. Now I see they fucking with me. They know that I can't stop and won't stop. Not until I hit the top.
Stop! No. The murder in front of my house. In front of my house walls.
I was 12 years old when this happened. My grandmother just got home from the hospital.
Well, she should have stayed at the Clucking hospital. She probably just came from like a mental asylum type shit. It's already starting clucked. It's going to end clucked. I bet y'all $5.
Because she had a stroke. She couldn't go up to the second floor of our house, in which her room was located. So my uncle, my little brother, and I decided that we were going to sleep in her room for a while.
Oh my God.
Before this day happened, my aunt bought a new air conditioner, so the old one would be removed. And of course, there was a hole in the wall for the air conditioner. I covered the hole with some kind of small box before working on the wall, so the air wouldn't come in. Anyway, back to the situation. My uncle and I were playing a mobile game at 3 a.m. when this happened. We played for about an hour or so until my little brother had fallen asleep. While I was paying attention, I suddenly heard a small scratching sound coming from the hole on the wall where I covered it with a box. Its sound was like someone trying to remove it with something.
What the fuck?
However, I just ignored it at first, because I thought it might be a cat trying to remove the cover. After 5 minutes, my uncle heard the sound, and he whispered in my ear saying, "Did you hear that sound?" I said, "Yeah, I heard it too, but maybe it's just a cat. Forget about it."
No.
After that, we had forgotten about the sound, and we just...
I only got underwear on. And they're very, like, loose. So. Thank God it's right here. I'm not trying to show nothing. Wait, stop. You showing. Ah! Fuck. More often than not, when you find something, when you start assuming or start being just a cluck things are going to happen to you. That's just the way it is.
It again. Until that moment. All of a sudden, my uncle quickly put down his cell phone and started to search with the flashlight. "What's wrong?" I asked him, but he pointed his finger on his mouth and pointed it to the window.
No
It
blinds.
was quiet outside. "That's weird. I heard someone's footsteps." He talked to me sitting back next to me. I tried to say that it's nothing, but this time I heard those footsteps. Someone was outside walking around with a creaking sound. So we eventually decided to look for it, opening the box cover. But before we could get closer, my little brother began to scream. We were shocked by that, but then we just laughed, thinking our reaction was silly.
There's nothing silly about All right, I'm not gonna do it. That's gonna be too much. Y'all saw the way he jumped, right? Like he jumped the clock up like something was inside of him. Something came inside of him. Something went inside of him. Like, why he jump up like that? Like something was just, yeah. He jumped. Like he just got possessed. Or something went up inside of him. I mean, y'all think this shit funny.
I went to my little brother and asked him what happened. He said that he had a nightmare. We laughed again, much bigger this time. Bump! We abruptly froze when we heard loud footsteps from a roof away from us.
Wow.
My heart dropped. What was it? My uncle said with an anxious voice. We then stayed away from the wall and started panicking. I started to think that it might be a thief who was trying to enter our house. What if he would try to kill us? How are we going to stop him? What should I do? However, despite all my worries, nothing happened after that. There were no footsteps anymore, but my uncle and I had to stay up until the next morning, shivering together. A few days later, my grandpa covered the wall with cement. And that day, we were watching the local news, and we heard that one of our neighbors, who lived right next to us, had been murdered. They also reported that the suspect has not been found, so the cops were struggling to arrest him. We just couldn't believe the news. We just watched the news with our mouth open. That moment became the worst nightmare of my whole life. What if I dared to try to remove that small box to see outside on that day?
I'm kind of mad. Who'd you say covered up the hole? Your grandpa?
Nothing happened after that. There were no footsteps anymore, but my uncle and I had to stay up until the next morning, shivering together. A few days later, my grandpa covered the wall
Your
with...
grandpa. Yeah, well, first of all, wow. You have a grandpa. Grandpa and grandma. Right? Two old ass mother cluckers in the same space as you. I'm not feeling it. Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs? No, I'm not. And then you said a few days later, your grandpa covered up the hole. So you telling me for about a few days, what's that, 2-3 days? After the first incident, you telling me y'all just stayed up that whole time in that room? Because how the hell did he even get inside? Pause. A few days later, that's really, I don't like that at all. A few days later, shit. That night, that night I would have just like, if I just experienced what they went through, I'm getting some drywall or whatever you use to cover up a hole. I'm just doing that right then and there. The AC gotta go right there. Sus. But I don't like that at all. I feel like the longer they're in there with their two old ass mother cluckers, those two old cluckies, there's always gonna be something. Something's gonna happen every day or every other day. You got two cluckies. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? You living with two cluckies. Like, something is bound to happen either every day or every other day. Something's gonna happen at least once a week. But can you live with that? I mean, that's gotta be uncomfortable. You live with two cluckies. Two cluckies. Like, that's rough. Thank God I have or never will or never had been in your situation as far as living with two cluckies. Two I understand one, but two? I'm gonna keep my hopes high for you. All three of y'all. Keep it cool, keep it classy, and I love you. Stay happy. My family.